I'd like you all to think about how you feel about celebrating the 4th of July this weekend. And if you're in a, like, yeah, let's do this red, white, and blue, or if you're feeling like a little miffed or like, really, what's it all about? I'd love to know. So please let me know in the chat over here. Please let me know what you're thinking. Unless, of course, you're like riding on your lawnmower and you can't type, or driving. Please don't do that if you're driving. Kind of sad. Judy Cakes is kind of sad. Judy Cakes made a really good change in one of my recipes the other day. You wrote me about it. Thanks, Judy. I'm assuming your name is Judy. Maybe it isn't. Yo, it's me. It's Ayelet. Hi, Ayelet. Can you type really fast? Go let me in. From the other sheet? What? Okay. Ayelet, I'm sending you another invite. Okay? I'm waiting for you to join, and I've sent you another invite. Isn't this exciting? This is technology at its finest. But you know what's really exciting? Because I knew you were coming.
All right. Can you hear me?
Here, it's you. I can hear you and everything. Oh, and what perfect timing, Ayelet. Look what I have coming out of the oven. Are these beautiful chocolate chip cookies?
Ooh. I have the dough here, but Marissa, my dough is like rock hard. You said refrigerate it overnight. Now,
Yeah.
what do I do now?
I would just wait like 15 minutes. And then my other trick is also this, which is I use a fork to chunk bits of it. This is going to end up with me in the emergency room, but you all watch.
That's what you do?
I chunk it. I use this like an ice
Here,
pick.
I was going to be all snazzy and
No, that it's the most, especially if you have a chocolate chip cookie dough that has a lot of big chunks in it. Your dough is beautifully soft. Then, oh my God. Oh my God. Is she pounding chicken breasts? What is she doing?
I'm getting a bowl.
I'm going to show you this.
This has $24 worth of chocolate in this because you said I have to use really good chocolate.
I did,
and we're going to do a comparison because I bought that because we had that conversation last time about how shitty my oven is.
Yeah.
I bought this thing. Can you see that?
Oh, there she is.
So I'm going to do one in my oven, one tray, and then one in this.
Oh, great. Look at this. Should I be just down here? Hi, everyone. Kilroy was here. Hi. Yeah, we are using a new chocolate chip cookie recipe from a woman here, me, who published an entire cookbook about Just wait. Give it 5 minutes because it's going to slip and it's under your chin and it's going to be like some terrible film.
Too much?
No, that's great.
Okay.
And then what I do, and this is the secret, my friends, we are cutting to the secret before like 5 minutes in. The secret of making these, it is big, but don't you want a big cookie? The reason big is nice is you can, it's going to be gooier in the center, but you can also
just going to spread all over the place.
Yeah. So look at this here. I took what's called a circle, also a round thing, and I've squared it up to be a little bit more like a pillar. I think in my directions I said it should look like a really poorly built pyramid. So it's a little wider on the bottom and a little pointier on the top. And that's going to that's nice. But you could make it a little squatter. Imagine me in cookie form. So thin at the top and squatter around. Well, then it would have hips. And then
if you imagine me, it looks even squatter than that.
Oh, there you go. Do it. And just remember our shapes.
All right. I'm taking a pan out of the pan cupboard. Just wait for the big, huge noise.
Okay. This is going to be
get my headphones to work.
This is going to be like radio when it was like, and everything fell out.
Why?
There are this is pure 1940s radio comedy, I'm telling you people. I hope you're listening to this on your headphones and you're like, I hope not actually. You're like,
I wonder if I'd be better at this if I had slept at all last night.
okay, so let's first, before we get into the whole cookie thing, let's talk about why you didn't sleep. Anybody else have difficulty sleeping last night? Shall we all solve your sleeping problems? Did you try magnesium glycinate?
I take 2 magnesium gummies before bed every night.
Okay.
You wanna know the honest truth? I mean, like I said, when I put up our little advertisement, I was like, "I am so fucking tired, I'm gonna say things that I shouldn't." So I'm just gonna tell you, I take a GLP-1,
Mm,
and I had a very large Indian meal, and my stomach was a little off. And so I was kind of like, I just didn't feel great.
I feel,
And then my husband, drove my son's a DJ.
yeah.
My son Ezekiel is a DJ, and he had a gig in San Jose, and I made Michael drive him
Oh,
because I didn't want him to drive alone at night, and, he was he was on at 1,
oh.
so, they came home really late, and that woke me up, and, as soon as I got woken up, then I'm
Then
up, and
you're up,
how
and then you were
far
like,
apart, Marissa?
I think a good solid, at least
Like,
2 to 3 inches, 3
okay.
inches. I don't put many
I'll
the
just do,
tray.
like, 2, like,
I
2,
I
2, 2.
tend to do it like, a checkerboard here.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Great.
Um, and the other thing is your oven should be 375 degrees, and I don't know if I said that in the directions. The other
Yeah.
thing that I'm going to do with this, and we're doing
Is
this
this a public
backwards.
recipe, or am I, like, a beta tester?
You're a beta tester. Well, you're not a beta tester. I've tested it, and other people have tested it many times. However,
Secret?
this is a secret recipe that we are just now revealing. I sound like my father. We are revealing this in public now. It should be okay. Don't you worry, because we got the nice ones here. Should we just do the whole one in the accent? Did your father have an accent? Maybe not.
No, my father had a Canadian accent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My mother, who was born in Brooklyn but grew up in Canada, had this insane combination of Canadian and, she's not dead, oh my god, of Canadian and Brooklyn, so she would say things like, "44, eh?" Okay,
Let's see how they look.
75, but see, here's the thing with the Breville, it has a cookie setting, and
No,
it's telling me 325,
no,
and the internet tells me I need to use lower heat in that thing, so should I just do that at 325, do you think?
sure. Or maybe, well, I mean, they want you to use a lower setting because it's a smaller space, so convection's gonna happen more efficiently as opposed to
Uh-huh.
my big stonking oven. The reason I use 375 is really because of science, because of the way the temperature at which things um, crystallize and caramelize, and you sort of want to set the outside of the dough so quickly, so it spreads, and you set the outside of the dough, and so the inside can sort of kind of burble along inside and be a little ooey gooey chewy.
So maybe I'll
So
put it up to 350.
maybe 350. That's
Um,
a good suggestion. Um,
you're so smart, Marissa.
thank you. I'd like my chemistry teacher who said that I just had to realize my limitations, which was a really great thing to say to a kid in high school.
I
Um,
had, I had a, I really liked math, insanely, until I started 7th grade
mm.
when it was Algebra 2, and Mr. Kaminsky on the first day of class at George Washington Junior High School in Ridgewood, New Jersey, said, research shows that girls can't do upper level math like Algebra 2. So girls don't expect to really understand this class. Yeah. And you will not be surprised to hear that I did not do well in math ever again.
Of course, your parents both together holding hands stormed into the school and said,
We
"How dare
didn't
you?"
tell them. Who would tell their parents? We didn't like, dude, we're Gen X. We didn't tell our parents anything.
And even if they had, they would be
The
like, "Well,
one
you
time
show
I
him."
confided in my mom about what a hard time I was having was in 6th grade, and I was horribly unpopular, and I was, crying, boo hoo hoo. And she said, maybe I was in 7th grade, still coughing.
Oh.
She said, "I just don't understand. I was so popular." I was like, "Oh, helpful. Thanks. That's helpful.
Oh my
Definitely.
god.
Great.
Oh. Oh, did anybody else have parents who did stuff like that?
Do you
Maybe
think
this
I
should
can
just not be
can I
therapy
fit
about the
more than like on this little tray? Just do 1, 2, 3 maybe?"
yes, yeah. Another, like, secret of the kitchen, I mean, we're doing this backwards, okay? Because we're gonna also talk about the recipe itself, which is full of baking secrets.
And
But
why are we doing this, people? Because it's literally the only fucking thing we could find to celebrate about America this year is chocolate chip cookies. And algae. I'll celebrate
an
algae.
algae. I will be, working on an algae cake later, and let me ask you guys what you think. I'm making it out of a Duncan Hines mix. Gonna make a big
All we
13 by
got
9.
I couldn't find Dunkin' It's my son's birthday, and he asked for a yellow cake from a cake mix. Michael's gonna make it for him, and we
Aw.
couldn't find Dunkin' Hines, so I had to violate family tradition and Betty Crocker.
Maybe
Ooh.
add a little more vanilla. I don't know.
Oh, yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll tell Michael when he bakes it.
So you can, I'm gonna make this 13 by 9 thing. I'm gonna cut out the insides of the cake, maybe make some cake pops with it, maybe sculpt, the Washington Monument, in cake crumbs, and then I'm gonna pour, blue Jello into it, like, really, like, swimming pool blue. That was the color they were trying to paint the bottom of this thing.
Uh,
Swimming pool blue Jello, and, for my days at Nickelodeon, I created something called slime cake because that was possible, and, because kids loved that sort of thing, that's what Nickelodeon was all about, and all that involved is dyeing vanilla pudding green. So, I'm gonna be dyeing vanilla pudding green and just making blobs of green algae and maybe dyeing some blue, maybe a
are
little
you going to a 4th of July fete, or will you be
no, I'll
just
just be
sharing that with your
sitting
family?
alone with it with my family. Everybody seems all my friends seem to have places to go that it aren't Montclair, New Jersey, sticky. Okay, so here's my trick. It'll make them turn out more, I don't know, sexier if you can make these cookies sexier. Like this is the top of the cookie, and there are big shards of chocolate here, and I just sort of press one into the top. Maybe you press one onto the side. This is how you get those picture perfect cookies that that you photograph and put in your chocolate chip cookie cookbook. Um, so that's how it looks there. So you kind of give them a little extra on the top and the side so it looks sort of even. And then you'll get these kind of beautiful, lush cookies. I'm going to put them right now into my 375-degree oven. And I'm going to show you one here that that I overcooked. Would you like to see the one I overcooked while I was waiting?
Yes, I wanna see the one you overcooked, and I also so how long are we go oh, I'm going in the oven now too, so how long?
For your that little oven, I would say 10 minutes and go check.
And for my big, terrible oven?
10 minutes and go check. It really depends on how terrible your oven is. So these are too brown at the edges here. It was because I was trying to get Ayelet into I blame it all on her, into the Substack Live. But it's still because of so many things that we did to it. Like if you like a nice brown crunchy edge, like I do, you won't have any problem with this, but it's still incredibly chewy at the bottom. The other thing to remember is there is it's gonna keep cooking once it's taken out of the oven. So if you like a really soft cookie, take it out as soon as this top area here is, not looking wet anymore.
So here's my question for you. Are we allowed to talk about that one really bizarre ingredient?
We are.
Okay, let me wash my hands, and I wanna ask you about it.
Okay. This cookie, I mean, I think if I had to do, like, the headline for Instagram would be, "This cookie has one totally bizarre ingredient."
What?
It's
Totally bizarre. Alright, what the fuck with the malted milk? Which,
mm,
by the way, now I have a canister of well, this is what I have. Wait.
add some to the cake. Add some to anything.
No, I was just worried about I have canister of malted milk that I don't know what I'm ever gonna do with again,
Oh, you're gonna do
and I
stuff.
have a canister of, carnation dried milk powder because I Instacarted the ingredients, and the
That's what they send you.
Instacart delivery person did not know the difference between malted milk powder, which why would you? But
Why would
yeah.
you if you're growing up in
So
this?
what made you be like, "I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put malted milk powder in this thing."
Because a lot of people use evaporated milk. Not evaporated milk, dried milk powder because, and this is the insider story, um, maybe you all know this, but malted milk powder and has an extra sort of layer of kind of caramelly flavor that will add. That's the malt. It contains some barley, and that's why it kind of boosts the flavor. But what milk powder does is it adds a protein element to it. And I'm really trying to get cut. No, it's not to make my son, who's like literally at the gym right now, um, eat more cookies. It's because the protein helps to make it chewy.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And there are two
But then can we also
there are
call it a
two
high
other
protein food?
things. Speaking of not good at math, what'd you say? I'm sorry.
We call it a high protein food, though. We
I
can.
I haven't done the macros on it, so I can't really tell you. I'll have my son work those out. Um, Malted milk adds flavor and it adds protein. Then we do something else. We add 1 egg and 1 egg yolk. The egg yolk is just a luscious, pure protein source, and so it helps to bind everything together, and you get chewiness. Chewosity is something I would have called it at Nickelodeon. And then, and this is actually how the whole recipe starts, so we truly are working backwards. You brown the butter. And we all know that browning butter makes for a delicious taste. It adds caramel, but also browning the butter makes the water go away. So what you're left with is pure fat. And
And your tip on browning the butter was so important, and I almost violated it.
uh-huh.
There's a note that says, "Do not check your phone," because the difference between and fuck is so close.
Yes.
So I was
Because
like, I found myself going, no,
no, it smells good.
and
When
it
it starts to
sounds
smell really good, yep,
perfectly.
always be swirling. So you have this lovely brown butter, which is adding lovely, lovely flavor. You pour it into a bowl. You whisk in the malted milk powder to sort of warm it up a bit, and have it uh, basically dissolve better. And then you make sure that you let that brown butter sit for a little bit so that it's not boiling hot. Otherwise, you'll get it won't be bad, but you'll just get a slimy, oily looking mixture. So let it cool.
I
The
followed your ingredients to the T. So we shall see,
God, I hope your new oven
including the
works for you.
exact proportion of dark chocolate and milk chocolate, including buying the most fucking expensive chocolate I could find in the grocery store. But
For those of you who don't live on a wealthy author's salary,
oh yes, oh, literary fiction. It's just a fountain of financial delight. Um,
if
you
she
know what?
opens that
Help a
cabinet
sister
behind
out.
her,
I had to
money
buy
falls
so
out of
much
it.
chocolate, people. You all need to rush out immediately and buy my novel so that to pay for the chocolate for this Substack Live. Please, please.
Um, if you aren't made of money, the other trick is to go to our friend Trader Joe's and buy their big mega 1 pound bar of Belgian chocolate.
Why didn't you
And
tell me that?
I don't know.
Why was I buying 2-ounce things for $6 each?
Because often I'll buy just like Ghirardelli bars in the baking section. The baking section ones are cheaper than the ones in the candy aisle. Also a top tip, my friends. You
Also, you
guys.
didn't tell me.
Sorry. And if you
No.
don't want to do the big gooey things, you could use chips, but just use lots and lots of them. But it's a different
It
experience
does actually
because
look kind of amazing.
chips have are meant to hold their shape. So when they get hot, they sort of retain their shape. And then, which is not what I'm doing in this weather because it is fucking hot here in New Jersey and I'm losing my shape altogether. Melting. But here,
I'm just out here looking at my. I'm just out here looking at my cooking. My
maybe
cookies.
maybe
Did
turn them around once.
Oh yeah, did you
Back to
do that,
front.
or why aren't you doing that? Because you have a better oven.
Because I'm better than you are. I mean, no, because I'm about to do that. I just want to
I
remind
think
you to do
I'm
it.
not gonna do that with a little oven because it's so small, I'm afraid I'll let all the heat out.
Okay.
But I'll do it when you do it because I put mine into my piece
I
of
can't
shit
wait to
Blue
see
Star.
how.
We haven't I don't know if how many of you were here when we were, figuring out what my cookie problem is, and it's this because I have this Blue Star oven, which I bought because I am shallow and because it is bright cherry red, and I love that, and it's terrible. I'm trying to be, like, the first person who can get an anti-endorsement, who I'll actually, like, have to pay damages to a brand because I've trashed them so much. This Blue Star oven is so bad. So we're gonna see how it works.
I feel really badly because I was reviewing kitchen equipment at Newsweek when I bought myself, with all my hard-earned journalist money, a Blue Star oven, and I was like, "We have to spend our money on this," and it actually was. It was marketed as a chef-like or professional kitchen-like oven for regular folks.
Yeah.
And that's where I was
Bullshit.
like me, and it had like 5,000 BTU on the stove, and you could, like, roast a chicken in a wok in 14 seconds. It was amazing. But when I got mine, it was very early on and new, and what they said to me, and I think I'll join you, get sued by them as well, is the guy came and, like, on his third visit to my house, said to me, "Well, the problem is you use your oven too much." I was like, "I do? Well, I guess
Why I
that's a
bought
problem."
it. Alright, it's time to flip.
I'm flipping. I'm switching front to back, and
I'm flipping. Yep. I will do the same.
there we do. So the other I'm Judy cakes. I'm about to go hike up the mountain and burn off calories. That's the spirit. Um, uh, the big chunks of chocolate are also key in this recipe. I want you to have, melty pools of chocolate, um, in your cookie. That's
How
really
much
what I want.
longer do we have?
Well, how did yours look? Did they look a little golden on top? Did they
They
look
do.
set on the
They look a
edges?
little golden.
Is the center of the cookie a little damp looking or a little dry looking? What happens when you touch the center of it?
It's a little, like, it's got a crust and then it's
Yeah. So all right. Um, yeah, then just give it like a minute more.
okay. And
And
then I'm
like I
gonna go
said,
look over to the one that's got the, in the Breville.
I like this. Um, so let's see what's
Okay,
happening with that
so
one.
the Breville is much puffier
Yep.
and
Okay.
it's brown.
On the sides. So it will
Yeah.
deflate. That is one of the disappointing things about this cookie. We're not making a levain, like, chunk of cookie.
Here, you have to just come out. What do you I can't decide whether it's done or not.
Okay, let's see. Oh, those look pretty good. Can you
Done?
lower the screen slightly? Okay. Oh, I'm in the oven. Those look good. Those
Yeah?
look pretty good, especially if you like a chewy cookie. Do we all agree? Everybody out there in TV land? I hope you agree.
Okay. I'm pulling those out. And then the oven ones,
Mhm.
soon too.
Yep. Do you like, I mean, it also depends on what we say personal preference. Like the browner cookies that I have here, I like that. I like a crunchy outside and a soft inside. You may you
So,
may have
okay.
family They look perfect. Yay.
Okay. So
You may have family members who really like that kind of raw cookie experience. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That
those are the little ones.
really exceptionally good.
If there's no difference and I just spent, I don't know what, $400 on that thing.
Uh-oh.
Okay. And then here is the big
The
oven.
big the big oven.
They look exactly the same, right?
They do look exactly the same. Um
Um,
But I think the problem with your oven is that a gas oven is that it cycles in and cycles out. So if you're not watching what's going on, or
so it's okay that I bought this, is what you're saying. It is okay
oh,
that I spent
I
all that
pro
money.
how long does it take you to heat up your Blue Star? to get it
Oh,
to temperature.
25 years, like,
It takes
I'll get up
forever.
in the morning, I'll turn it on, and by dinner time, I can roast a chicken
Right,
for
it's just like
sure.
the olden days, like, grandma would stoke it with
Oh,
coal.
stoke and the firewood, and yeah, it's about like that.
Right, and then it's just about time for dinner. Exactly, and that's the thing, is now you have something that preheats in, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3
2 minutes,
minutes?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
So
good.
and so it's
That's
also good, and this is the other great thing about it is, um, if you have extra dough, not that this is extra dough, but if you have extra dough, you can just roll it into balls and freeze it, right? And so when it's time for a chocolate chip cookie, first of all, then
that's
you're
what I'm
not
gonna do with the rest of these because I have 8, and, here's the secret, I hate chocolate chip cookies. I don't like chocolate. I only like this the sort of most v happy milk. I like a Lindt Swiss milk chocolate. Anything darker than that, I hate. So I won't eat these, but there's 3 people in my house today who will eat them, and 8 is enough, right, for 3 people? They're
not
perfect.
yeah, yeah,
Should I make another batch?
one more batch.
Okay.
So, um, I think that shows that you're a really good friend, Ayelet, that you would make chocolate chip cookies just
For
for
me.
me.
Well,
Yeah,
it's that I'm a very good friend, true,
and your
but it's
family.
also that, like, we're trying to find this quintessential American item, which maybe we could talk about that, this idea of, like, I was thinking a lot about the bicentennial.
Mhm,
So I'm 61,
mhm.
so I was
I'm slightly younger.
5, so I was, like, 11 when the
Yep.
bicentennial happened, and, uh, I remember it. I said this in my little Substack. I remember it because okay, please be quiet. Shh. I remember it because, I went to summer camp. Anybody here go to Jewish summer camp? So, on the West Coast, nobody sends their kids to summer camp, but on the East Coast, people go to summer camp for, like, 2 I went to for 2 months starting at age 7.
My mother did that, but that was in the '30s. They'd send her on the train by herself from New York City to Vermont,
I
where
mean, this is just like what Jewish kids did. I can't believe you missed it. Where you grew up in New York and you didn't go to
I grew
summer
up
camp?
I grew up in New Jersey, and I went to day camp because I think
There's something wrong with your family. You're a
well,
Jew from Jersey and you didn't go to sleepaway camp?
what if I said this? We weren't my mother wasn't my mother wasn't that kind of Jew.
Oh, right. I forgot she was British Jew.
No, she was
Like
not
the
a British
Queen.
Jew. She was not. She was from the Upper East Side,
Oh,
and
okay.
her
Well, yeah.
family were ethical culture Jews
Okay. But then why didn't she send you to like the Workman's Circle summer camp?
because that was so not I grew up in Summit, New Jersey, people. I was a freak of nature. She didn't wanna make it worse for me.
We we so what we did. My dad actually like started all these Zionist camps when in Canada, but eventually I went to Camp Ramah in the Berkshires. Are there anybody? Oh, someone wants to know if she can sub Ovaltine for the malted milk. Why not? Right?
Why not? Try it.
Um, so, uh,
It might be
what
a
was I
little
saying about
sweet.
summer camp?
I think
Oh,
that's my
so the
only concern is
bicentennial.
it's sweet.
So
Sorry.
it was not a very like Camp Ramah was not doing a lot of American patriotism. Like when I was a kid and we in Canada and Canadian summer camps, we sang "Oh Canada" every morning and then Hatikva. But we only sang Hatikva at Camp Ramah in the Berkshires, as far as I can remember. And, but the bicentennial was, like, the only summer that I remember there being any excitement about America and celebrating the 4th of July, and I feel like it was a big deal. I feel like in my memory and it was completely apolitical.
Mhm.
America was in a shitty place. I mean, it was right after the end of, Vietnam. It was
Huh.
right after Watergate. Everybody was miserable. Everybody it's not like people loved each other. But it never would have occurred to us that there was something about this holiday that was partisan. I mean, my father hated it because my father hated everything about America. Um, yeah, they let that Trotskyite become a naturalized citizen. Ha ha ha. Trump.
America.
He's dead now. You can't get him. Um, but yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
but like
yeah.
I remember feeling I don't know that I felt patriotic, but at least I felt like excited, sort of.
And that was the thing I wondered. Did I feel excited because, like, I was a 9-year-old kid and or whatever I was? Anyway,
Renee, yes, you're gonna get the recipe, don't worry.
yeah, you're totally getting the recipe. I do have a little concern about Ovaltine, and we'll get to that in a second, Brenda. Um, I wondered if it was just, like, I'm a kid and look, there are parties everywhere and the tall ships are here, and, my friend took me to Benihana, and then we saw the tall ships in New York City, and that was really exciting. Um, oh, and everything was branded for the bicentennial, and,
Oh, yeah.
anybody who's
Breakfast cereal.
anybody no, but it goes down to, like, the, um, Sani pad bags that you would see in public toilets or, in nice toilets, where they had something to wrap up your indiscreet lady things with.
They did those, they branded those
They
too. Oh my god.
branded those, they branded toilet paper, and there's a collection at Yale, and apologies to people who read my Substack a week ago or so, but there's a collection at Yale that you can find on bicentennial kitsch, and the New York Times wrote an article about it, and they have all sorts of amazing examples of the crazy stuff. So I was sitting there kind of whinging about tacky things that you can get on the America250.org site or .com site and thinking, "Oh god, how tacky." And then I looked at what we did in 1976.
Yeah,
That was
I mean, the
worse.
tackiness, yes. Certainly I have enough of a snob that I'm enough of a snob that I can sneer at that. But, for me, everything sort of changed when I went to law school. So, before
Mhm.
I was a writer, I was a lawyer. And the closest I ever approximated patriotism was 2 events, 1 law school,
Really?
where I really studied. I don't think I'd read the Constitution before law, like, literally had not read it before law school. And you get this real sense of, as you're reading when I was in law school, you're reading all of these cases, you really felt in 1991 this progression towards a greater vision of America. Like, the Fourth Amendment cases became ever more protective of people, and the privacy cases culminated in Roe versus Wade, and there was this real sense when you were studying constitutional law and constitutional criminal procedure when I was a law student, that you were progressing to a vision of America that was ever more diverse, ever more protective of individual rights, ever more capacious and, um, you know, like the shining city on the hill. Of course, we
Mhm.
didn't get there, but you really sort of felt this, as Barack Obama said when he first became president, quoting John Lewis, "The arc of justice."
Mhm.
Martin Luther King. I remember who he's quoting. And I thought that's when I started to feel like, "Oh, this is a great country. I'm really glad this country has done terrible things, but, like, there is a theoretical underpinning that it has at its core greatness."
Right.
Um, and then I felt the same way when Obama was elected, and I remember that thing that Michelle Obama said where she said something like, "For the first time or finally, I love my country." I'm misquoting it, I'm sure, and that's how I felt. I felt
Uh-huh.
like and I bought an American flag. Yeah, I bought an American flag.
Was your father passed at this t had your father passed at this point?
No, he just never came to visit.
Okay.
Um, and I think we hung it, like, on the porch or something, but I felt part of something, and
Uh-huh.
I felt part of something that was becoming good and becoming, and then, of course, I kept saying all I want is for Barack Obama to disappoint me. I just want the opportunity to be disappointed by
Yes.
Barack Obama.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
then, we all know what happened. 8 years later, it wasn't just like America had to, you know, elect a white man to compensate for 8 years of having a black president. They had to literally go out and find the worst white man. I don't know. I probably think Ted Bundy would have done a better job as I mean, like, find me anyone who you think.
Ted Bundy was interested in other people? Sorry.
I mean, he actually, by all accounts, was quite intelligent. I mean, like, it's just so I don't know, like, thinking about it this year, thinking about the 4th, I'm so I alternate between despair and rage. I mean, are you guys feeling this? Other
Yeah,
folks?
yeah, let us know how you're feeling out there too. I think it's I fascinated that reading the Constitution really gave you a sense of possibility, right? That
I
this
mean, it
country
did,
reacted well to the Constitution and that it is something that develops over time. Um,
Mhm. And the Declaration of Independence too, which is even in many ways even more of a sense of like, um, Jeannie Suk Gerson, who's a brilliant, brilliant legal scholar and writer, and has a column in the New Yorker. She has a whole her most recent piece is about this idea of natural law, which we hold these truths to be self-evident. That means like that each person has a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's like a natural law from the divine. Um, and I think I I've always been an atheist, again, raised by
yeah.
Trotsky other, but, I, uh, I had this sense or it opened for me this idea that there was this country was founded on a principle that it immediately betrayed. Let's be clear, like, from its betrayed it before it even wrote it,
Before it
but
even
that
started, yeah.
yeah, that there was at this heart this notion um, of the rights of the individual that comes from a place greater than nationhood and greater than the government. And so that was an incredibly exciting thing to realize as a young person, and especially as a young person who really was raised in like seriously toxic hatred of America. I mean, never has there been an immigrant to the United States who hated the country more than my
And so
dad.
what did he hate? Did he
He hated Americans. He hated American crassness. He hated American exceptionalism. He hated American materialism. Um, he he hated I think mostly he hated himself, let's be honest,
Ah,
right?
mhm.
And so he was always looking for someone to disdain. But he also was, you know, I'm actually writing this new book that is quite a bit about him. And he was this very committed socialist, also Trotskyite. Um, But at the same time, he reached kind of the, nadir of the expression of those beliefs in Palestine in 1948. So think about what that means. So, like, it was socialism, but just not for those people. Socialism for us people. Those
Right.
people just will pretend are not here. But and so America was like the exact opposite. Capitalism was the great enemy. Um, so but to like I found something, I found out I moved out of that and I found this way, I mean, to feel a sense of allegiance. I didn't pledge allegiance when I was a kid.
Oh, you
From the
didn't.
time never. I stood there.
Now
Like
you get
imagine me, it's great. So I was in second grade when we came from Montreal. And from second grade, I just stood there like that.
you said you had no
I
friends?
mean,
I'm sorry, what was that?
I don't know. I'm so curious. Why didn't you have any friends, Haley? Why were you a friendless child?
Um,
Ugh.
I
Anyway,
but
should we go back to talking about cookies? You need to answer the
I will
Ovaltine question.
I will answer some questions, but I think you're onto a really important I mean, did you feel like when you read the Constitution that it offered you some sort of hope that you wanted in that the early in your early 20s?
Yeah, I felt like I felt like that I was living in this incredibly imperfect place with a
Mhm.
terrible history and in many ways a terrible present. I was a federal public defender during the time of Clinton, which was when just the worst prosecutions. I mean, people who did like basically carried a box from place to place were ending up going to jail for 20 years on drug charges. Hillary Clinton was talking about, you know, talking about like young black men. I mean, she called them, all sorts of horrible names. So, so I knew how imperfect, God knows I knew how imperfect the country was. But still somehow I felt this sense of progression. I felt the arc of justice.
Mhm.
And obviously it wasn't a smooth arc in my mind. It was like setback, setback. But now I don't know. I have no feel. I don't think that anymore. I don't think the arc of justice moves the arc of history. Well, I don't know, someone who knows this quote better than I am.
Yeah.
Um, I don't like, Kathleen, I agree that we're in an existential crisis, and I know we've weathered storms, but somehow this feels worse.
Yeah, I mean, I could go back to examples like the time of the robber barons, right? And the turn of the 20th century and see just how abused we were as a society
Yeah, but
coming and going.
they are robber barons compared to their robber barons. They were like they Carnegie founded all the libraries.
Right. And Rockefeller, ended up realizing something and went, okay, I should create these foundations and do some things for people. And I just don't even see that happening now. I find, oh, I find what's happening now is just dejecting, right? There doesn't seem to be any hope. There were a few hopeful moments this week when the Supreme Court did things like hold on, maintain birthright citizenship.
6-3, and one
Right.
of those
That's
6,
but that's my point.
and one of those 6 doesn't even believe it resides in the Constitution. He thinks it's statutory. So according to Kavanaugh, it would be perfectly fine to get rid of birthright citizenship if Congress did it. I mean, think about that.
Yeah, and that's what the president jumped on as well.
Right.
So as happy as I was that yay, birthright citizenship, 3 of our justices, or 3 and a half, we'll say, thought that they could vote against that as a possibility. And these are people who are constitutionalists, right? So what am I missing here? Yeah.
It's interesting. I was in the same law school class as both Barack Obama and Neil Gorsuch. I don't remember. Like, I have asked every one of my friends, and maybe this just says like I wasn't in the Federalist Society. None of us can remember Gorsuch. Nothing.
Really?
Like nothing.
Maybe
Was he
he's like
really
Don
there?
Draper. I was going to say maybe I've been rewatching Mad Men, and maybe he's like Don Draper, and he just kind of created himself out of, you know,
Thin air.
like a quilt. Speaking of
Yes.
which, Brenda has 2 questions. We're gonna pause the
Yes.
serious stuff and then
Cookie
talk about
question.
the nice things, which are Ovaltine. My only concern about Ovaltine is the sugar content and whether or not that's going to make your cookie too sweet. I do like the sort of possible chocolatiness to it because malted milk powder is just malted milk and malted barley and
Could
salt.
you lower the sugar then if you were going to use that?
Yeah, you can lower the sugar and but like, it's gonna impact the texture a little bit. See what happens. Try it. You do a half a batch. Um, and I have never used Kanako, although I've eaten many delicious things with roasted Japanese soy flour. I think that's a good idea for chocolate chip cookies. It would be really good in chocolate chip cookies.
Wait,
I will
so
put that
look
on
at
my
the
list.
difference. Okay.
Wow.
Oven, Blue Star, electric Breville.
Right. So
What diagnosed that?
I
Although
think
finish your Kanaka conversation because I rudely interrupted.
no, no, no. But the Kanaka, I think, would be a nice thing to try. It looks like the Breville is a little puffier
Yeah.
because the heat was more steady and it solidified better than the one in the Breville that just went and finally stopped. That's my thought.
Yeah.
I completely overbaked the batch that was in the oven while I was talking to you, and it's sitting over there. And I've decided while I'm sitting here that I'm going to make it into ice cream sandwiches, which would be a
Oh.
nice way to, because this is a good cookie to make ice cream sandwiches out of because it retains some chewiness, rather like a chipwich. I think I kind of associate chipwiches with the 4th of July. Maybe that's when we first had them. Anyway, who doesn't love a chipwich? Uh, so
When did you bake your first pan of chocolate chip cookies?
my first pan of chocolate chip cookies was with my immigrant grandmother. My grandmother, my grandfather, and my father were able to escape Holocaust-ridden or, Nazi-ridden Europe. And it's sort of a funny story because
Funny
I
story.
let me tell you we Jews, we can find humor in anything. It's an interesting story, shall I say. My grandfather had a brother here who'd been here since maybe 1920, something like that. And he had worked in a company called the Italian Import Company in Danbury, Connecticut. Shout out to anybody from Danbury. During the 20s and during what we would call Prohibition. And if anybody remembers during Prohibition, during that time, Prescott Bush, yes, of the Bush family, was the senator from the great state of Connecticut because they were, let's face it, not actually from Texas. The Bush family was from Connecticut. And apparently, so the story goes, my Uncle Max, or great Uncle Max, was able to pull a favor from the Bush family because they'd already closed the quotas and didn't want the Jews in. And he was able to pull a favor to get his relatives in
So the
because
Bush family. Okay, go on.
with from Senator Bush, because perhaps during Prohibition, Uncle Max had ensured the Bushes a steady supply of quote unquote olive oil.
Wow.
That's the story. Unless
That
I
is a
call it,
great
unless I
story.
call George Bush
Did you
himself.
vote for George Bush
I
accordingly?
did not. Are you kidding? I used to think he was a dumb, ignorant president too, but then
Yeah.
is anybody else's my biggest concern this week? Well, among others, I mean, aside from the fact that like the president spent $2 billion, like earned $2 billion off of all of us, in his time so far in office, um, that he saw himself. He went to the Teddy Roosevelt Museum, saw a hologram of Teddy Roosevelt, had a conversation where like Teddy Roosevelt said some words in hologram.
I think he knew it was AI. I want to believe he thought it was really Teddy Roosevelt.
Okay, so then later that day, he gives a big old speech and he said, when I talked to Teddy Roosevelt earlier,
But I mean,
he said,
okay.
Who's with me? Who's with me who thinks that he thought it was real?
I mean, I'll always believe the worst of him, but I fear that he actually probably just fucking thought that was it,
You sound like a press secretary for the president. He
Shut
just
up!
was
Oh my God,
joking.
I think he shits in his pants and wears diapers, and I also think Putin has pictures of him pissing on a prostitute, so not his press secretary. I mean, does anybody else just drink a single cup of tea and keep heating it over and over again in the microwave all day? What I do all morning long?
He should get you one of those pads that heats that you can sit, like it's a heating pad for your tea.
That's what I need. Yeah,
That's
or one of those, like, mugs that keeps it hot.
Mhm. One of those Yeti mugs. Okay, Kathleen, you have established what a chipwich is. Thank you, Deb, for explaining it to her. Kathleen, you have to do that. You have to make yourself chipwiches. Homemade one's the best.
Shit, I
So
forgot to put a timer on.
uh-uh,
Don't let me
uh-uh.
forget.
That's why we bake with our nose. So smell. Does it smell like it's done?
No, they just went in. It's that second batch. All right, well,
All right.
I'm just gonna keep looking over at it.
Okay. Let's remember
Can someone
and
please, like, in about
remind
7
her.
minute, remind me in
Remind
the
her.
comments?
I mean,
I
we
have
have
cookies
enough
in the oven.
people on here that I think we can all look on our watch and help you. So, do you have big 4th of July plans?
Me? Well, today's my son's birthday, so it's July 3rd, obviously. We're
So
here.
that's a celebration right there.
So, we are taking him to Chez Panisse. Oh, and you know what we saw last night that I was gonna suggest that people, watch? Do you guys know who Jeremiah Tower is? So Jeremiah Tower, for those who don't know, was one of not the first chef that Alice Waters hired for Chez Panisse, but he was sort of the defining chef for Chez Panisse. I mean, he's the one who shifted from sort of French cuisine to sort of French country cuisine, which was where Alice had started, to California cuisine, to focusing on California farmers and to focusing on, instead of Dover sole, Petrale sole, and instead of
Mhm.
oysters from France, oysters from California. And so he was a really complicated, crazy guy and has kind of, you know, ended up sort of forgotten in many ways, certainly outside of the food world. But there's a great documentary about
Yes.
him. Have you
Mhm.
seen it?
No, no, no.
It's so good. So we watched it last night. Um, we live in Berkeley, so we've been to Chez Panisse a bunch. It's not like we go every week, but we go fairly frequently. And but I'm too young to have been there during his era.
Yeah.
But I did eat at his restaurant. The judge that I clerked for on the federal court in San Francisco loved Stars, his restaurant Stars. So she used to take me there for lunch fairly frequently. Uh,
Nice.
it was such an interesting. And wait, I came up with something else.
Okay.
The food revolution that started in California, that Jeremiah Tower and Alice Waters began, that traveled across the country and then across the world. That's something to love about America.
Mhm.
We
Yep.
we came up with that. I mean, it's like it was sort of, trying to eat like they did in Europe. So it was definitely inspired by France and Italy and Spain, but it certainly was that's a
Well, it's a
quintessentially
very
American thing.
American thing to do, to take something that already exists and sort of Americanify it.
Yeah, but in this case they made it better. Or not better, but they made it great,
They made it great. Sure.
They made it great.
They
And
didn't turn it into a Cheeto, you know what I mean?
yes,
Like, they didn't
exactly.
try and process it, sort of the opposite. So that's a
But
positive thing.
that ways, people, you're supposed to be putting shit in the comments that are supposed to
Yeah.
make us happy about America.
Yeah, tell us the things that are making you the happiest about America. I mean, on a very positive, and this is gonna sound a little goody-goody, but fine. I think there are a lot of people out there right now who aren't just kind of whinging about what's going wrong with the country, but are actually working really, really hard
Like the
to.
A Goods and Alex Preddy's of the world.
That's right. And Joyce Vance and Norm Eisen, and I am affiliated with.
You know Norm? Do you know my pal Norm? We went
You
to law
know.
school together. It was a pretty amazing class because,
Wow.
Barack Obama,
Norm
Cook,
Eisen,
our
Ambassador Eisen.
president. Yes.
Yeah, he runs the Contrarian, and I'm part of the Contrarian, which is a great news source. But he's also working very hard with his team. It's not just Norm, obviously, to um, ensure that, like, laws are upheld, and he's suing the people who need to be sued to make sure things happen. Katie Fang, independent journalist, left MSNBC, also a great lawyer, who went to Yale. And she is, like, brought a lawsuit against the attorney general. So, just to make sure that he releases Epstein files. Remember that? Like, we get so distracted with diapers and stuff. Yeah. Um, what happened to Jen on the Contrarian? She's still there. Maybe she's on a holiday. I think she's on a holiday this week. If you're talking about Jen Rubin. Um,
I'm making all my little pyramids and putting them in a Ziploc, and I will have cookies forever. This is a very large recipe, people, so there's plenty to freeze.
there's plenty to freeze, and the other thing is to remember is don't keep it in the refrigerator overnight to hydrate the flour before you roll it into balls and throw it in the freezer. It still needs to have that hydration in the refrigerator. Yeah, she's been on a holiday, I think, Deb. Don't
All right, so
fret.
I want to see some more things that we can think of.
Yeah. Okay, we love Norm Eisen. Hooray for America. Let's hear some other things.
While people are putting it in, I'll tell you guys this Norm Eisen story that I'm sure you know, Marissa. So, Norm's mom was a survivor from the Czech Republic.
Mhm,
And Obama named Norm the ambassador to the Czech Republic.
mhm.
And the ambassador's residence in Prague had been the Nazi headquarters. So Norm moved in, koshered the kitchen, and put mezuzahs on the doors. And it was just such again, that was that moment where I felt like, oh my God, this is what America is. Norm is koshering the fucking kitchen in the headquarters of the Nazi Party in Prague, and we're changing, and we're becoming this. Ugh, even saying it now makes me want to like roll my eyes. A post-racial, more egalitarian society. Oh, the naivete.
Yeah,
But
no.
yeah,
Yeah, if my son were here, he'd be rolling his eyes at you like, "Really?
I know. I
Really?"
know.
Um,
Hoping to change, dude.
how do your kids feel
Change.
about the subject of patriotism?
My kids are, um, one of my oldest daughter works for the Maine People's Party. So she's out there knocking on doors, every day for Graham Plattner and the other, various candidates. Um, so I think she has, I mean, that inspires her both to be like anti-jingoistic, but I do also think, there's a difference between jingoism and patriotism.
Yes.
So, um, I think my my younger daughter who's going to law school, starting law school next year, thus I've won. I think, she's an American Studies major, and a Native American Studies major, and this girl, God, this girl's so amazing. She ended up becoming sort of accidentally probably the national expert on a very specific kind of Native American beadwork because there just weren't people who were doing it. And in fact, she was such a Jewish mother. Like I only ever insult my children in public, but now I'm bragging about her. If you met her, you'd know why. She corrected a tombstone. Tombstones are in museums. They're little plaques that tell you about the piece of art. She corrected a tombstone at the Met. She was like, "I'm sorry, that is not what you think it is." Isn't that wild?
That's fabulous. Did it
Like
take much to get them to change it?
um, they didn't. Not really. I mean, she told them. She told them it was a different artist, and they took the object off display, which kind of bummed her out because she wished they would just attribute it correctly.
Yeah.
But then they, like, invited her to some sort of big, private thing for people who were, involved in the Native American collection. So that was very exciting for her. Are we seeing I can't scroll because
Well,
my
we
hands
have some because your hands are messy. Kathleen has added that, Anand Girardis, um, of the Ink Substack, he's great, made a list of how to live in these times, and one of the items caught my attention was cook the food they want to deport.
Oh, I
So
love that.
I love that. So I'm doing that. I'm learning a lot and not just about food. Absolutely. That's how I mean, I would
I
like.
mean, that is what we love about America, right? The idea that as cultural appropriation. That's what we love,
Hey,
right?
yeah.
That is this amazing thing where like a Jewish girl from New Jersey can, cook some incredible butter chicken or whatever it is. It's like
Right.
fusing different cultures, learning from one another, jazz music, all that stuff.
Right. I mean, and that is one of I mean, if we do it well, if we do it, with
Responsibly,
responsibly and with some
ethically.
and with respect and ethically, and it's also like, I mean, anybody who's ever worked in a kitchen, who's in the back there? Is it all French people in the back of your French restaurant? No. Is it all, you know, it's probably a lot of undocumented immigrants who are making your incredibly wonderful meals with the skills I learned in the kitchen. The best ones I learned were from the, he must have been 22-year-old Ecuadorian immigrant
People,
who
you
taught me.
burnt my cookies.
Oh, really, Bert?
Tell me.
What? Take them off the pan and put them on the counter.
They're just a little browner. I'll do ice creams. We'll do
Right,
chip.
but take them off the metal pan because that's gonna keep the
Yeah,
heat in, and put them on the counter.
that's what I did.
Okay, good.
That's
That's a good tip for anybody in an emergency situation like that. And then you can use that nice scoop that you have to scoop a big scoop of ice cream into the middle of the cookie. See, you can use it for that. Um, so as we're kind of rounding up here into an hour, we probably should let people go off and get into their red, white, and blue jumpsuits or whatever you're planning on wearing. But I'd love to hear from some of you to know, like, what else that you think that we should be celebrating. And I think one of the things is that I haven't, I mentioned the whole, like, my father was an immigrant spiel, and nobody was prouder of the United States than my father. Because it gave him so many opportunities, and it allowed him to do things that if he'd stayed around in Austria, and I'm not saying because of the Nazis, I'm just saying it's not a society that allowed people to rise up out of, the brushmaker's son who is illiterate, my grandfather. My father went on to become a scientist at Bell Laboratories, right? And a professor at Columbia. So that was a real, I would be so interested to, well, I think I know what my father would say if right about now, if he were looking at the news, which he read avidly every day, and he'd be disgusted. But
Yeah.
then, but he still would celebrate, mostly because he liked sausages a lot, and he really thought of the 4th of July as sausage holiday, and believed that it wasn't like if you bought sausages for people, and please feel free to follow his lead. He would show up at our house. He'd have gone to the Barth's Pork Store in New Providence, New Jersey, which has been there since the early 1950s, and he would show up at our house with the equivalent of 3 to 4 sausages for each person at the house. Because he believed, no, obviously no one should go hungry, and of course you could eat 3 to 4 sausages.
On a roll or on the plate?
No, often with your fingers just sort of dipping it, in
Look,
the
so this is a
mustard.
beautiful thing. I'm gonna read this out loud. One of the
Okay.
amazing things about America is the variety, this is Eleanor Mullins, of natural and human beauty you can experience without leaving the country. I live in the middle of the country, and I've just come back from 2 trips, one to the upper Midwest and one to Appalachia. It was so joyous to be reminded of the wonderful people you can meet and the beautiful places you can see all over the country. That is really nice. Considering that we've hit an hour, should we just go out on that?
I think we should just go out on that. I think
That's
that's
really
a really wonderful, wonderful idea. Um,
Thank you guys so much. Go
and
buy
so
my book so I can afford more chocolate for my chocolate chip cookies.
and you can also buy my book because this is America. It's very important for us to self-promote. Um, buy her book.
Buy her book?
A perfect buy Ayelet's book, A Perfect Hand, and my
And buy go on. Do you
my
have a
chocolate chip
copy?
cookie
The
recipe
chocolate chip
book,
cookie recipe book.
The Secret Life of Chocolate Chip
And
Cookies.
we'll see you next month. We're doing these monthly. We are having a really good time with these, so we'll see you in a month.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and celebrate everybody.
Yeah.
Celebrate the people that are around us, and eat a cookie. The recipe will be on my Substack shortly. Thank you, everybody. See you. Thank you, Ayelet.
Bye. Bye, honey.